Good morning. Um, this is just gonna be my unedited, unscripted reaction slash feelings to that Captain America 4 movie. As an MCU super fan, um, where to begin? Uh, okay. You might think that I'm overreacting to a trailer that is like a minute and 50 seconds long, but you have to understand something that the MCU I'm wearing my More Than a Fan shirt from the MCU. The MCU, what used to be just the biggest thing for me when I was in high school. Like, my highlight was, okay, the school year is going to end, and then I get to see the next Marvel movie. Every May or June, there would be the next huge Marvel movie, and that would be like a highlight of every year when the next Marvel movie would come out. And the trailers for the next Marvel movie and going to the next chapter of a Marvel movie, that was just such a big highlight for me. And then, like, when Endgame came out, and I think I got this shirt back when Endgame came out, I had such hope for the future for the MCU because even when they stumbled a little, they would always come back, and they just seemed like they could do that. They would never fall. That they had everything set up going for the future. And then obviously the next 5 years happening, and it's crazy. Like, I know time is relative, but 5 years when you've got over 10 years of something built up and so successful, 5 years is such quick order for things to all come slamming down. The MCU didn't have a plan, like a lot of things from Disney. They came out with terrible projects, and most importantly, they character assassinated a lot of their characters. And people say that I use the word character assassination too much. I think it's just that it's been happening a lot more. And let's talk about Anthony Mackie as a Falcon. I love Anthony Mackie. I think that he's a great guy. He has some great insight if you watch interviews with him. And I grew up loving his Falcon. All the way back in Captain America the Winter Soldier, I thought that he added some extra spice to the movie. I thought he was a really fun addition and a really fun dynamic with the other characters and just with the Avengers in general. And I had no problem with him taking up the mantle of Captain America. And some people argued it should be Bucky, but I said no, it makes sense. It's going to be Falcon because he doesn't have Bucky's baggage and all of that. This is going to be good. Then the show Falcon and the Winter Soldier came out, and I think that they just did such a disservice to Anthony Mackie with the material that they gave him because he is this a happy-go-lucky character, and all of a sudden he's very dour, he's very cynical, and that was really surprising to me. Well, not really surprising. I just mean it was like a 180 from what his character was supposed to be. He goes from the character with no baggage, who's supposed to be happy-go-lucky, to a character with a lot of baggage, who apparently does not want to take on the role of Captain America. And I'm like, that is such a rewrite because, first of all, he didn't have any of that baggage before. And second, if he did, Captain America, Steve Rogers, would have known I can't offer him the role of Captain America because he would feel how he would feel about it because they're supposed to be best friends. So I thought that the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was a really dour, cynical show. I thought that it handled its politics in a really Saturday morning cartoon manner. And it's like it was really dour until the very last episode where all of a sudden it went complete Saturday morning cartoon and all of a sudden tried to be really, really optimistic and let's all just get along. And that it made Sam Wilson with his do better speech look really naive and really foolish. And so I'm like, you have really, really disserviced this character. And I think that Falcon and the Winter Soldier was the second worst Disney Plus show for Marvel. For Marvel, I think that She-Hulk was still the worst, but I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier was perhaps the second worst. And it really completely soured me on this idea that I was initially all up for and excited about of Sam Wilson being Captain America and going forward with that. And I had faith that they were going to work something out in that regard. And it's like, you rewrote these characters. You rewrote not I almost said Sharon Tate, Sharon Carter to be somebody who hates Captain America. You rewrote Steve to be somebody who wouldn't care about her, who wouldn't protect her when he promised he would, to be a character who apparently retroactively was really, they're making out to be really naive of everything and really naive of the situations in the world. And it's like, that's not who he is. And to say, the worst part of the show for me was to have Sam Wilson say that he should have destroyed the shield. And that is everything against what Sam Wilson's character was, and it really once again taints his relationship with Steve Rogers. Like, they were supposed to be best friends. Sam Wilson said in Winter Soldier, "I do what he does, just slower." So this really miserable show that rewrote the relationships between characters and all of that just for this new direction. So you have that horrible show, and then you make a movie off of it, essentially. You make a movie that's a spin-off of that. And so, going into this trailer, I just want to get it out there. I used to be just so excited for every trailer that was going to come out for the MCU. Used to be the highlight of my year for the new MCU movie to come out. And then this trailer comes out, and I just felt so dead watching it, and just seeing Anthony Mackie back. And I'm like, I wish I could be in a timeline where I was excited for him to take on this mantle. But, and I don't blame Anthony Mackie for this at all, by the way. He's still great with fans. And he said that no one had a problem with him taking on the role of Captain America. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. No one had a problem with it. Everyone was open for it. It's just that what they did with it as soon as they got a hold of it. And so we get this trailer out, and it's just, I feel so dead about it. I'm like, is Sam going to be more of his original character? Is he going to be more of his quippy self? Or is he going to be the character that we saw in Falcon and the Winter Soldier? But maybe that's a little bit disingenuous for me to say, because Falcon switched characters constantly. One minute, I call him Falcon still, because that's still his iconic name. He, one minute, was this really cynical character who wanted to destroy Captain America's shield. The next minute, he's giving do-better speeches and rescuing a terrorist and saving her on a platter after all she's done. The writing in that show was just so terrible, and so it was bad. It was really bad. The writing in that show was terrible. And now you expect me to be excited for this new thing in any way? It's like you're just sort of taking this character that you've already deconstructed in that show and rewrote into something else, and expecting me to be excited for a new trailer of it. And there's other things that really got to me in the trailer as well. Like, I'm like, where are we in the Marvel universe? Like, what does the universe look like? Because before we had a very solid world that was built, but now it's just like so many characters have died, so many institutions have stopped, so many characters have outright changed. I'm just like, it doesn't really feel like a world anymore. Like, it doesn't feel like it's a place where you can go. It feels very small. Like, I don't really know this place anymore. I don't know where we're gonna go. I don't know who the characters are. I don't know what still exists and what the rules are anymore. And I don't know where we're going in terms of a wider story. And so I just felt so dead watching that trailer and just seeing where this universe has gone. And I just want to highlight, why did you make that Disney Plus show to taint anyone's expectations about what Sam Wilson as Captain America would be and what the Marvel Universe would be going forward? Because now it's just given me this expectation that this is going to be terrible, and it likely will, because it tested so bad in test screenings. And remember, Marvel does this in-house, so this was all their own people testing it. It tested so bad, they essentially reshot the entire movie, as I understand. But I don't think that's going to fix it, because everything I hear about it just sounds like an out-and-out disaster. It sounds like something that they shouldn't have gone forward with in the future. It sounds like the worst idea in the history of bad ideas with Marvel. And I think that it was always going to be a risk to have Sam Wilson as Captain America and have a brand new cast of characters going forward, except maybe Bucky. He's not going to be in this movie, though, because it's like, who is in this movie that anybody knows? Like, the only character that anyone knows is Sam Wilson as Captain America. Everybody else that I saw in the trailer, apart from Harrison Ford just as an actor, it was a complete stranger. So it's like, of course, this isn't going to sell. It was already really, really questionable if Anthony Mackie would be able to sell this movie himself. Nothing against him, once again, just in terms of an actor and a character a pairing and how they draw people in. But especially now, after that Disney Plus show, there's not going to be a lot of hype for it, especially after all of that behind the scenes drama that we've seen. This is DOA like nobody has ever seen, and it's even more so DOA because since they've essentially shot this movie twice, and Marvel movie budgets are already exorbitantly, if I said that word right, expensive. The rumor is that this movie cost like $400 million to make before marketing. I have never heard of a movie budget that high before, meaning it's going to need $1 billion to even break even, if not more than that, probably even more than that. But there is no way that it is going to even, I would predict that this movie makes even less than the Marvels. I think that it is a similar principle, though, that they're both movies that no one asked for. Thought I heard something. We're going to leave this in because this is an unedited reaction. But these, like the Marvels and Captain America 4, both had the same problem, that these are movies that nobody asked for, with characters that, at least with how they've been portrayed recently, are not ones that are strong enough to bring people in. And I would say the same thing about the Thunderbolts as well, obviously. Things that nobody wants, that nobody's interested in. And but the thing is, Marvel knows that, and that's why that's why that they shoved out this trailer when they did. And let me tell you, Comic-Con is 2 weeks as of me recording this video. It's just 2 weeks away. MCU is supposed to be there. They're supposed to present. So why would they release a trailer right now? Like, your big Comic-Con presentation is coming up. Like, why wouldn't you wait to show it then and hype things up? Because they're probably not going to talk about it much beyond just reminding people that it's coming out. Because they know that this thing is going to bomb. They know that no one wants this. They just have to get it out there. They have to get it away. That is also why they're releasing it in February. Now, February and January are known as the dead months for theaters. That's when most people don't go to see movies. However, sometimes February can produce a hit. That's why sometimes I put risky movies in there, like Deadpool, the very first one, or Black Panther, or Birds of Prey. And as you can see with those 3 movies that are comic book movies, 2 of them did really well, 1 of them didn't. But that's because that is like the risk month, where you might get a movie to be really successful, but usually that's where they dub all the movies that they don't have confidence in. And wouldn't you know it, Captain America 4 comes out in February of next year, and it's like, yeah, this has bomb written all over it. I've never seen a movie more slated to just be an out and out bomb than this movie. But here's the thing about the MCU. I do believe that, well, like anything, they could come back. I think that there's more life in them than a lot of other franchises that have gone down the tubes. Like Deadpool and Wolverine, obviously, is set to make a lot of money, and that's because you have characters that people actually care about who seem like themselves in a movie that seems like an actual Marvel movie. Back to Captain America 4 for a minute. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. This was just an unedited, unscripted thing. But it's like, what is the plot of this movie? Someone's running for president, and this president wants Sam Wilson to be basically a government symbol. And I'm like, and Sam argues, but what if I don't do what the government wants me to do? And it's like, that was the same argument in Civil War, and it's like, you've already done this. How is this doing anything differently? It's not doing anything to get anyone excited about Sam Wilson as Captain America. There's nothing there's nothing that he is offering to bring people in, because it's like Steve Rogers in The Winter Soldier, if you remember those trailers, he would talk about his moral dilemma and how he fit in the world today as he was coming back from the 1940s, and how he just had this resilience in the midst of all of that, and how he needed to make this resolve to stay by his principles even as the world was really changing. That was what Winter Soldier was really about. and that was a movie where he was not going to allow a gun to be put to everyone else's head. So we had more of a solid original premise with that movie. This movie, it seems like you're retreading the same ground, and there's nothing about Sam Wilson that makes him seem like he has his original conflict, or that he has something about him that makes him really interesting as Captain America. So I'm like, no one wants to see this movie, and it's not even like the Marvels trailer. Like, all publicity is good publicity. The Marvels trailer was like really hokey and wonky, and it got a lot of negative reactions as apart from this. But this trailer was just so dull, and that's why I think that this movie is going to do even worse than the Marvels. I think it's going to be the biggest bomb ever. And then you got Red Hulk in there, but the CGI looked terrible from what little we got. And it didn't excite me because, once again, I'm no longer excited with who Sam Wilson is as a character. It doesn't excite me that he's going to go up against Red Hulk. I think that Harrison Ford, I love the guy. I think he is getting too old for all of this. I thought that was very clear in Indiana Jones. And but he is running for president. Maybe this movie, the political commentary is about how presidents who run for president are too old or whatever. That would be a very timely commentary. But I think that Harrison Ford is getting too old for this, and I don't think that he really can make it in these action movies anymore. And that it's fine. He just should retire. He's done such good work. It's fine to move on. But I'm not excited for Sam Wilson as Captain America anymore, even though I was, and you had me as a Marvel super fan to support that. I'm not excited for Red Hulk anymore, or the bad CGI. I'm not, this is like modern day MCU 101. But while I got way off track from what I was going to say, there is still hope that the MCU could get better, because we still see things like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 or Deadpool and Wolverine that have that classic MCU feel. Deadpool and Wolverine is not for me because I don't like Deadpool's humor. I'm only following it for Wolverine. But there is life left in the MCU, unlike a lot of other franchises and people who are still willing to see stuff. But unfortunately, what is really going to make it struggle is that they greenlit so many projects that fans didn't want, like Captain America 4 or Thunderbolts or like the Marvels, the Kang Dynasty. I don't like. It's so many projects that no one asked for. Agatha, House of Harkness, Echo, Ironheart, the TV show, and you're just expecting everyone to like everything and accept everything, and they didn't. And so now you're left over with all this millions, hundreds of millions of dollars wasted on these projects that nobody asked for, and you're gonna suffer for it because I think I still contend that the X-Men could save the MCU, but with the way Kevin Feige's been talking, I'm not sure how soon that's gonna happen. But I've been talking to other people, and they completely distrust the MCU to handle the X-Men. Though they do not trust this current regime to be able to handle those characters. They'll, like, maybe once in a while, like a movie will come out and people really like it, but there's still an overall lack of confidence in the MCU. But the point is, even if the X-Men could save the MCU and they could do a good job with that, you have all of this sludge in the meantime before we get there. And it's just going to damage things even more, and it's going to make them lose even more money, and it's going to mean for a really terrible February in terms of movie theater going, because nobody wants to see this movie. But I suppose the moral of this story is don't take your fan base for granted, because we were never going to accept literally anything that came out from this universe. And I suppose a lesson is don't antagonize your fan base at all, in the way that the Falcon and the Winter Soldier thing came out and sort of expected there to be people to be against the idea of Sam Wilson as Captain America, and wrote a story about that, about the meta around that, when that wasn't even the case. And this is just sort of the fruits of those things coming out, and it's really disappointing and disheartening to see. And to just watch a Marvel trailer and to just essentially feel nothing, feel dead inside, and see this character that I used to really like and care about changed into something else. That's just really disheartening. It's gonna take a while for the MCU to get back on track if it does, because they have all this sludge to get rid of, and they know they have to get rid of it. That's why they're shoving out these trailers for Agatha and Captain America 4 now instead of putting them at Comic-Con. They know that they're in trouble and they're gonna try to right the ship, but whether or not they can is another matter. There's a chance, but they're gonna have to get through all of this sludge first. And it's going to be quite the February and quite the November when Thunderbolts come out to get rid of all of this sludge. And I just can't believe that they would be so foolish as, well, I can believe it, that they would be so foolish as to greenlight this movie after how badly received the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show was. That this was like the one movie like that had bomb written all over it from the very beginning. But that is all I got for you guys today. What do you think of the Captain America 4 trailer? Do you think Harrison Ford should retire? Thank you, patrons, as always, for supporting me. If you want to support my work on Patreon, you can check out the link in the description. It's early. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys